The Witches of Salem. Long ago, in a small village called Salem, nestled in the forests of Massachusetts, a heavy fog clung to the air. It was a time when shadows whispered secrets and fear roamed freely in the hearts of men and women. This was the time of the Salem witch trials, a chapter in history where superstition and paranoia reigned supreme. One chilly autumn evening, a young girl named Abigail sat by the fireplace in her family's modest home. She listened intently to her grandmother's warnings. Never wander into the woods after sunset, child. That's where they meet, the witches. They cast their spells and summon dark forces. Abigail shivered but couldn't help her curiosity. What did witches look like? Did they really fly on broomsticks and boil strange potions in cauldrons? These thoughts stirred in her mind as she drifted to sleep that night, unaware of the strange events about to unfold. The next morning, the village was buzzing with news. Livestock had gone missing, crops had withered overnight, and a pale mist hung low over the forest. Rumors swirled about dark rituals and the presence of witches. Some villagers claimed to have seen shadowy figures moving between the trees. Against her grandmother's warnings, Abigail's curiosity got the better of her. That evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, she tiptoed out of the house and made her way toward the forest. The trees loomed tall and foreboding, their branches twisting like skeletal hands against the moonlit sky. As she ventured deeper, she heard faint whispers carried by the wind. They were unintelligible but haunting, as though the forest itself was alive and calling to her. Suddenly, a flickering light appeared in the distance. It was a fire, surrounded by hooded figures chanting in a language Abigail couldn't understand. Hiding behind a tree, Abigail peeked at the scene. The figures circled the fire, throwing herbs and powders into the flames. Sparks shot into the air, creating strange shapes, serpents, skulls, and birds with fiery wings. One of the figures stepped forward and lowered her hood, revealing a woman with piercing green eyes and silver hair that shimmered like the stars. "You are trespassing, child," the woman said, though Abigail hadn't made a sound. Her voice was soft yet commanding, echoing as if the forest itself were speaking. Terrified, Abigail tried to run, but her feet wouldn't move. The green-eyed woman waved her hand, and Abigail found herself floating toward the fire. The other witches whispered and laughed, their voices blending into an eerie harmony. "What shall we do with her?" one witch asked. "She is young," another replied. "Perhaps she can be taught." The green-eyed witch bent down to meet Abigail's frightened gaze. "Do not fear, child. We mean you no harm. If you keep our secrets." She touched Abigail's forehead, and a chill spread through her body. When Abigail woke up, she was back in her bed, her grandmother sitting beside her. "You were sleepwalking," her grandmother said. But Abigail knew it was no dream. Her mind was filled with memories of the witches' chants in the fire. From that night on, strange things happened whenever Abigail was upset. Candles would flicker, and objects would move on their own. The villagers began to whisper about her, and soon, accusations flew. Abigail realized she had been marked by the witches, forever bound to their world. As the years passed, Abigail grew older and wiser. She stayed away from the forest, but the witch's mark remained. It served as a reminder of her foolish curiosity and the price she had paid. To this day, the woods near Salem are said to be haunted, and villagers warn their children. Stay out of the forest after dark, or the witches will find you. And if they do, they'll leave a mark you'll carry forever. And so, dear listener, if you ever find yourself wandering near Salem's woods, remember Abigail's story. Some secrets are best left undiscovered, for the shadows may be watching and waiting.